Hey guys, Infidel 1258 here. Hope you're doing well. Let me know in the chat who's hanging out. Love to see your names. Love to see questions or comments for today. I am just here to hang out. I don't have anything prepared, so we'll be chatting about whatever you guys are curious about. I'll answer your comments or your questions. Maybe we'll play some games, but I got some time, and I just thought I'd come log on for my weekly live. I think did I maybe miss last week live? I know I did one for the members, but I don't know if I did a public live, so happy to be here today. Crazy things, and I know like $11,000 sale on the auction on gold foil yesterday, and 1 million plus continuing to be the reality for the regular foils. I'm certain, or I feel confident, that the price point on that is not going to get any cheaper. I keep hearing people feel or express that those prices are going to come down, and that's an interesting starting point. Maybe we'll start there. This card is good, and the scarcity is significant, and this moment, this bull market moment that's happening in cryptocurrency, all come together at one piece of convergence. In my mind, that this card will be expensive till the day it's no longer issued. That's my expectation. I know a lot of you feel that it's going to get cheaper. You think, the whales are going to satisfy themselves by buying the first 20 or 30 or 40 or 50, and then the price is going to drop off. That's what I hear people say. But we've already seen that the whales within the game want more than one. We've seen almost every single whale who's bought one bid again. And so that tells you that it's not, even if there were 50 people that wanted this card, many of those 50 want two. I also believe that many of those 50 would buy 3 or 4 if the price was right. And I think if you imagine a million DEC as being, 1.3 million DEC has proved to be, let's say, how do I want to say that? Like low 1.3 or typical. That's what I mean to say. A 1.3 million has been typical. So there's 1.3, there's 1. These three were below that price, but then 1.3, 1.3, 1.3, 1.4, 1.3, 1.3. So 1.3 has been typical. And therefore, if they start falling to 1 million, I have every confidence that some of these people would want a second. Housewife tried to buy the gold foil. Azarcon's been in there more than once. Many of these people are. So from the perspective of, there's not enough whales to buy 100, I feel like that's wrong on the face of it. But then I also want to say that there's people within the community that probably don't identify as whales, but would love to have it. And so then there's them too. And then finally, just a broader crypto market. If we have hopes that this isn't done, why would we believe over the next 60 days, actually 80 days, that there would be less money sloshing around in people's pockets, right? I don't get it. Like, either we're confident about where the crypto market is going, and then we should have confidence that this is sustainable, because there'll be extra liquidity, extra valuation sloshing around in people's wallets, and that should support the continued viability of that price point, in my mind. In fact, I think there's a counter argument, like an additional counter argument, which you could say counter to the typical narrative, which is that not only will it not go down, I could argue it will go up, because, for two reasons. One, you look at the first unit of Hello is the Hollow sold for 1.35, I think it was, and people thought, oh, that's really high. And the next one was 1.1 and 1.1. You might be looking at, and then we've seen many at 1.4. And so what is that? Why would the first one sell for less than any of the others? You would think, no, the first one has its uniqueness. That unique quality should carry at a higher value. Well, maybe it's the case that people felt the first one would be out of their price point, and so they kind of ignored it. Maybe it's also that people thought, I can wait till later. There's 100 days of the sale. I don't need to rush in on day 1 or day 2 or day 3. And I think that's to some extent what happened on day 2 and 3 and 4, where there was 1.1 million sale. I wonder though, if that's the case, if people are saying, I'll get it later, what happens when there's no more later, or when tomorrow starts, evaporating? Because we have 80 more days or 79 more days in that auction. But what happens when we get to 60 and you still don't have it, or 50 and 40 and 30, and and some of these major players still don't have what they want? I actually wonder if there's a tightening of desire. I'm starting to wonder if the prices will go up for two factors. One, the scarcity starts becoming more and more real as we get closer and closer to the end of the auction, and simultaneously cryptocurrency is spiking, so you need more money. And so yeah, the auction is going as I expected, and I'm surprised when people think it's going to suddenly get cheaper. I guess it could if crypto really takes a turn for the worst, but I don't think it's going to take a turn for the worse. With that said, I'll just check out to the chat and see how you guys doing. Gathering, good to see you. Get ready to head for family's house for Thanksgiving. Hope you have a great day. Azurkhan listened to me and bought out the Moxie and Rebels yesterday. Azurkhan's a beast, hey? Guys like that, just like the money is there, and they're like, wait a second, you made a strong point about because guys, Gathering the Magic's done some great videos recently talking, and I think one more is to come out, deep diving on what the market can offer and what you've come to expect in terms of what you play with in Splinterlands. You have A, B, and C sort of plays that you use. They rely on these specific cards. Those cards are in Chaos Legion. They're going to be removed from Modern. And so how are you going to replace those opportunities? Well, there's only a few sort of ways to do that. And Moxie and Rebel is one of those cards. And so check out Gathering the Magic. Amazing video, bud. And I think it was I saw part 1 of part 2, or part 1 of 2. So go check out his channel, guys. William, good to see you, buddy. Happy Thanksgiving for the Yankees, of course. Yep. We celebrate in Canada Thanksgiving in October. And it's one of my favorite. I said this on the channel before, maybe to my members only. It's one of my favorite holidays. It goes Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving in my mind. And I love it. Like, some people think it's like, they think it's unimportant or not special. It's not like a big deal. I love it. Like, the idea that our country comes together, your country now, but our country a few weeks ago, to like celebrate a special meal with family and people we love, and literally celebrate gratitude. Dude, that is so actually important. And I think I actually really think this is sorely lacking in the world today. And it's notable that Canada and America are, I think, the only two countries in the world that celebrate Thanksgiving. People in England, they don't know what that is. They don't celebrate that stuff. Dahoda, good to see you, brother. Oh, hang on a second. I know my featured comments are not up. Bear with me, guys. There it is. Dahoda, good to see you, brother. Happy Thanksgiving to me, and happy not Thanksgiving to you, my Canadian friend. Dude, I'm celebrating too, but we are celebrating for different reasons. Today we have, hang on, it's not today, but tomorrow and this whole weekend, I've got things going on. My family, my youngest nephew, who is turning 3, will be celebrating his birthday. My brother-in-law is celebrating his birthday. And so there's lots of family meals. We'll get together in kind of the same in the same way we would if it was just regular Thanksgiving. So I'll be enjoying delicious home cooked meals alongside people I love, just like you will. Aaron B. Gathering was right with his recent video. Card diversity is going to drop dramatically in April. It will be back to a situation where people with key cards will dominate. I think this point is really accurate, and I think that's why everyone needs to go watch Gathering's video. I saw yesterday, it was 2 days, it had been out for 48 hours, and he had like 150 views. It's a long video, and it's data heavy, but if you guys are playing Splinterlands right now, and you want to continue to succeed and extract the most reward for your time and effort, you actually need to do that homework that he's telling you and showing you how to do. You need, failure to prepare will be, there's a famous quote, it's like failure to prepare is planning to fail. And that is so accurate right now, because we are going to see a massive meta change in Splinterlands. You guys are here because you love this game. You believe in what it is and where it's going to go. you wouldn't be paying attention at all unless you're one of the salt lords that just want to sprinkle some of that salt into any conversation. But most of you are, you know where this is going and you want to be part of that. So just do that homework and think about it now. You do not want to be stuck realizing on what is it, April? I think it's April that we're going to see Conclave Arcana. When Conclave launches and you aren't ready, you're going to be one of, hundreds of people trying to rush through a small door at the same time, meaning there's only certain card assets. We've looked at the market recently a lot, and there is simply not enough liquidity to support all of the interested parties. And if we look at, I could show it in a minute, but I've got a battle here on the screen I want to watch. But, there are just so many assets that there isn't enough of. And I know people think I'll get it later. That's what's happening in my mind with Hello is the Hollow. But I'm telling you, there isn't enough. And it's not a subjective opinion. It's an objective fact. When you look at, for instance, the Soulbound reward cards on the marketplace and you go, wow, there's 2 copies of this important card. I don't have it yet and I know I need it. And there's 1 or 2 copies on the market. That's crazy. Let's just quickly look at that. Rebellion reward cards. And let's look at Epic, because we know that Epic many people consider Epic the most important from this set. Legendary are growing on me, by the way, though. But cards like Arachne Weaver, actually really powerful. I've come to realize this. Now, if you come into the game today and you want Arachne Weaver, okay, there's 4 BCX for you. Okay, no, actually 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 BCX. You need 46 of them. There's not enough for one person, right? And I know you can earn them. That's the good news. You and me and everyone who's already here can earn them. But lots of people are going to come in and want them and not have been here for the last 6 months. And so they will want to buy out this marketplace when they recognize the power and significance of these cards and the opportunity and the future of this game. And so if you want to get ahead of that rush, you need to actually think this through now. And maybe Arachne Weaver is not the card you need, but you need to actually think through what your deck needs. What do you have? What are you losing? And what are your goals? Because if you want to continue to thrive in Modern, things will change dramatically. And I know most people haven't thought that through. If we had already thought that through, some of these Rebellion cards would be far more crucial. Like I think he made, and without stealing too much thunder, just go through and search key abilities, and while looking at Rebellion and maybe Rebellion rewards, and just recognize that when you're looking at Rebellion and Rebellion rewards, there are 4 taunts, or if you want tank heal, there are 3 tank heals. And do that math and think through, like, I don't have Seitha Toledo, I don't have Anna Soothsayer, I don't have Mary Put Magician, and yet of course I need tank heal if I'm going to play at a high level in Modern. So are you choosing to move to Wild? Because if you don't act or you don't have these cards, you may just be pushed out of success in Modern and pushed towards Wild, which can be fine too. It's just be thoughtful about it is all I'm saying. I'm not saying you have to stick in Modern. I'm not saying you have to buy these assets. I'm just saying make a conscious decision to understand what your plan is so that you can get ahead of the crowd, because the crowd most people, 90% of people, won't act until they're forced to. Once Conclave arrives, they'll start thinking about, okay, which Conclave cards do I want? And that's way too late to start recognizing what you need, because frankly, it'll impact your capacity to buy other assets, Rebellion or Rebellion Reward, because once, if we see Conclave, one example, and I'll move on. One example, if we see Conclave deck and there is a lack of taunt, which there might be a lack of taunt in there. We know that the team has talked about moving away from certain abilities, and it's clear that the meta evolves in that way, where new abilities come out and presumably old abilities will leave. If taunt is no longer going to be issued in the same way as it has been in the past within the Conclave Arcana, and yet you want taunt, what would that mean for you? Well, it specifically means you better think about in acquiring and investing in the existing taunt that are present in the Rebellion or Rebellion rewards. And frankly, the only one that's going to be ubiquitously applicable will be Sirenth, which is a Soulbound reward card, which you can earn currently by playing Glint. But are you? Are you focusing on epics? Because I'm focusing on epics. That's some of my content. I talk about how important the epics are. But if you need a taunt, well, maybe you need to be buying those legendaries. And there's all this conscious, thoughtful intentionality that's present for the people who are gonna succeed best. And you can be one of those people. Like, it's just the thoughtful planning that's needed, because we have time. So let's just make those choices now, so we don't have to rush through the door with 20 other people at the same time later. Gathering says, I think it will go cheaper because I don't think the whales have $100,000 to drop on a card. You're talking about, I think you're referring to my conversation around Hello is the Hollow. Hang on, 100 copies, 1K each. I'm a little confused by that comment. You think it will go cheaper. You don't think the whales have. I'm gonna assume you meant DEC on that card. 100 copies, $1,000 each. I'm actually pretty convinced they will stay $1,000 each. In fact, I think I wouldn't be surprised if we saw like 1.3, 1.4, 1.5 million DEC for a regular foil toward the end, because of the reasons I explained earlier. With respect to gold foil, I kind of think I originally said 7 or 5 to 10 million DEC was going to be the price on the gold foils. I said that before the first gold foil sold, and I stand by that. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some of them sell for certainly less than 14 million. But at the same time, 10x multiplier on a reg foil to a gold foil is not a crazy premium to pay. I know it's crazy to you and me, but to people with money, 10x multiplier on a gold foil is actually within the realm of reasonability. And so Cryptomancer, I think it was, who got the first one, it's a big price tag, but I understand his logic. He wanted that first one. He was willing to pay that premium. And also, it's only a 10x multiplier on a card that is literally 1 of 5. And there won't be all these cheaters in Modern with Battle Helpers and Chaos Legion cards. I think Aaron's making the point that you want to stay in Modern because it's more preferable because it doesn't have the same sort of bots and Battle Helpers. Yeah, I certainly have a lot of fun in Modern. I try to play in Modern most of my games. But I also next season I want to do this where I play in both Wild and Modern myself, no bot. Because I get to a place in Modern where I can't really get any higher. In fact, I did it again this season. I played in Modern myself, of course, because that's what you do. And I made it to Champion 3, and then I kept playing. And I've been smacked and smacked and smacked. So I'm in I'm in Diamond 1 right now at 3,500 rating. Look at this there's 3 losses, there's 1 win, there's 4 more losses, there's 2 wins. So and look at these 4, there's a 4 loss streak. Like in the last 20 matches on the screen here, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins. 5 in the last 20 matches. I just got absolutely slapped around. These are my last 20 matches, 48 hours or greater ago. And look who I'm losing to, guys. Like, I got Tofu. There's the Max Eleanor Bravefoot. I got Tofu. I got a Max Silverblade Fighter with the Mantaroth behind it. Maxed out Genie Geese. Like, I mean, everything. These guys got everything. And that's guy from Ajax too, by the way. This is the creator of Splinter Coach. Who else? Maxed out Ilthane when I'm doing archery, so that didn't work out for me. Actually, yeah. And then, so there's a Grimbard Smith, Mantaroth, Tofu. So the people I'm losing to have like at least $3,000 worth of cards that I don't have. $2,000 to $3,000 worth of cards I don't have. And so my point is, I really like playing Modern, and I can reach Champion. But I can kind of just squeak in, and then I'm out of my league. I need to just get there and just back away. And so I want to keep enjoying the game. That means I need to buy a wild pass. But I want to play it myself so I can earn those rewards. And so, yeah, that's my plan for next season. I see joy in both, is my point. Dohoda says, every Heloise will sell for over 1 million DC. Too many whales. Yep, I agree. Gathering, if they do have that much cash, just buy Rebellion. I see your point, Gathering, but most of these guys that we're talking about that are spending this much money on Heloise the Hollow, they already have the Rebellion, dude. there are enough players who have a max Rebellion set, and yet they probably, you could see the financial opportunity in buying even more Rebellion. It's like one is not enough, especially when we know survival mode is coming, right? But the scarcity of a card like that, it's like, it's very noteworthy, and it's a powerful card. And so I get why they want to do it. It's not for me, but I get why they want to do it. Ivan, good to see you. Why buy Rebellion when they already have it? Yeah, I agree, Ivan. Many of them will already have it. I guess you could make the point that they should have multiples because of survival mode, and we could talk more about survival mode too in this conversation here, guys, but I'll just read some more comments from the chat first. What if the play is to get more Chaos Legion for your secondary account and play more accounts in Wild? I certainly think that that's a viable consideration. I've been talking about Chaos Legion being desirable and like a stronghold long term. I've been saying that for like months and months. So has Gathering. Many people think it's crazy. Like they go, Chaos is worthless and there was too many copies printed, and just go ahead, and they say things like it's just, you can ignore it. Just forget about it. It's like, it's not even a big deal. It's just going to move away. It'll be deleted, or it's going to move into irrelevance. I totally disagree. I mean, Chaos Legion is a very impactful set. And then when you want to get into things like a conversation again around survival, these cards will definitely matter. Oh yeah, they'll matter. And they are one of the most inexpensive ways you can access that gaming experience, right? And we talk about, if instead of energy, your access point to SPS is essentially how many cards do you have, because that's the survival mode model. You can play as much as you are able within the card collection that you have. Energy is not a barrier. It's just, do you have more cards that are still alive? That model means the deeper your collection, the more you can play, the more SPS you earn. And so it's absolutely crazy to imagine that Splinter cards, that survival, the implementation of survival is not going to radically transform the utility of Chaos Legion. But even setting that aside, I cannot envision a future for Splinterlands where Chaos Legion isn't, that there isn't eventually a scarcity to it. Set value. And that is dependent on there being a growth of the player base. But in my estimation, there will be a growth of the player base. And as we understand currently, there's way too many Chaos Legion, but that's based on 5,000 human players playing this game. 3, 4, 5,000 people playing this game. If we ever get to a reality where there's 30 or 40 or 50,000 people playing this, or 500,000 people playing this, which I actually believe is possible, then you totally change the supply and demand dynamics that are associated with the valuations around every card asset. But that will surprise people with respect to Chaos Legion, because they often talk about it like it's worthless. I mean, the set value is really, for the last 6 months, look at this, $800 over there, $797, and we're at $736 right now. I mean, I'm not saying that's good. I know a lot of us, including myself, paid way more for it, but I'm saying when we're talking about value, not price, we should stop sleeping on it. We have to stop this talk that Chaos Legion is, I don't know, worthless, or that it's never going to carry value. That has been the reality since it launched, because we've been in a bear market since we've launched. If we expect any future player growth, we have to understand that will transform the price points and reveal the value. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. I think a lot will move to Wild, then spend the money on Rebellion. Yeah, I mean, that's probably true, which will then, but that has foreseeable implications. If many accounts, first of all, Modern is the more scarcely played league, at least at the highest levels. You get we have a very small amount of people. It might be, we actually could check this in a second. How many people play in Champion in Modern versus Wild? It's totally, I bet it's 500 in Wild and 100 in Modern. And that's part of why you see this great SPS differential in the rewards paid out in each of those two leagues. It's part of why. And so if we see a greater reduction or a significant reduction in the player base within the modern format because of the reasons we're alluding to, where, Rebellion will essentially now be the cornerstone of how you succeed in modern, and chaos is removed from that equation and people are relying currently on chaos, which I think is true, then you get to a place now where there's even fewer players. And if there's fewer players, there's greater rewards. If we go from picture a champ 1 in modern, which is currently a modern top battle. A modern top battle is paying, this is the last top battle. I'm just going to skip to end. 18, is that all? 18 SPS. That's surprising to me. BJY Shadow. Let's look at the other one. Let's look at the prior top battle champion, the one before that. Does BJY have like a small SPS bag? Let's see this. Skip. Look at this. So these guys just played 2 consecutive battles together. They're part of the top battle window. So VetV won this match and earned 26 SPS. BJY Shadow won the prior, and I think it was 18 SPS. And so I commonly do see like 30 SPS for the top battles in modern. That's based on whatever population is currently fighting in here. If that population is cut in half because many people are not going to go into Conclave hard, or they're lacking certain key Rebellion, as some of us agree will probably be so, the incentives will change around reward structure. If we cut the player base in modern in half, the rewards will double. If the rewards double, then people are now financially incentivized to buy those assets they were otherwise thinking about not buying. We can all see that, right? And you might go, well, I'm not going to spend, let's go to Splinter cards. Rebellion. Okay, so you might say, I'm not going to spend $7,000 on a Rebellion set. I don't have Rebellion yet, and I'm not going to do that just to compete in the modern league at a high level. Maybe I've overlooked most of this. With me, for instance, I bought about $3,000 worth of Rebellion cards. That means I'm missing about $3,000 worth of Rebellion cards. And you might say I'm not going to buy those, even if the rewards in modern increase dramatically. But some people, because ultimately you're saying in that equation or that statement, you would be expressing the opinion that the SPS is not financially worth that investment. But some people will disagree with that and come to an alternate conclusion. You might say the SPS is absolutely worth it. If I'm getting not 30 SPS for a win, but 45 or 50 or 60 per win. That and by the way, at the same time, while SPS is probably going up, because I'm talking now, we're now 90 days out. In my opinion, over the next 90 to 120 days, I think I'm hopeful for the SPS price. And so I'm making several assumptions, but if these assumptions prove valid, the conclusion is simple. People will at first they'll say, I don't want to buy those cards to stay in modern because I'd rather I can play in wild and that's fine. But then the move to wild reduces wild rewards and increases modern rewards. That is going to grab some people's attention. Simultaneously, the increase in SPS price, which I expect to coincide in this moment or this season, should then also influence that decision. And so people will initially say things like, I'm just going to go to wild. But then they'll be astonished by, I'm not getting 15 SPS per win in diamond. I'm getting 4. Or, maybe it's not even 15 anymore, because if many leave, that's what I get in diamond. But maybe it's now 25 in diamond. And so these factors transform and affect our decisions. It's one thing to think you'll move to wild and be happy with it. It's another to recognize what those rewards look like after the masses make that move. Especially if Conclave alone doesn't allow you to become competitive. Yeah, first of all, I think Conclave alone will not allow you to be competitive in modern. Now, competitive meaning in my mind, top tier. I think you need both. You need everything to be from both Conclave and Rebellion to be the top of the top in modern. That's been the experience so far with respect to modern. You've needed all of Chaos, all of Rebellion, and all the promos to be the top of the top. And so I think that'll continue to be true. I do not think holding Conclave alone will be sufficient. Some people will try that approach with and they'll have some rebellion or maybe no rebellion. I think they will be gold and diamond players, and you can have fun there and you can get significant reward. But if you want to be a champion 1 player in modern, there's just no way to do it without every asset. That's the case. And I think, side point, that makes sense. We don't. The top of the leagues should need all the cards. Like, I mean, the leaderboards. The people fighting for the leaderboard should have all the assets. That would not make sense to me if the leaderboard players were using half of the cards that are available. Ivan says, well, maybe 2 accounts in Wild is still better than silver in modern. Just saying, not impossible. Yeah, that's true. It's certainly possible. It's hard to imagine that yet and hard to think that through. Time will tell. But we should all be cognizant of the fact, everything I just said about how people will probably leave modern, it will impact the rewards in a logically predictable way. And you need to be ahead of that curve in terms of saying, I'm right now in Wild, in Champion, I get 7 SPS. I should expect that to go down because some players will leave modern. Okay, am I going to still be satisfied with 5 SPS per win in Champion, in Wild? And in Modern, you might be okay saying goodbye to Diamond 1 15 SPS Modern rewards. But are you okay with saying goodbye to 20 SPS or 25 SPS for Diamond 1? Those thoughts should be in your head before you make the decision to leave Modern. Yeah, promo cards are definitely crucial. Yeah, and you do need to look through that. That'll be another great content gathering. Keep it up. Even if I think you're right that more will move to Wild than by Rebellion. Yeah, it's hard to, we can't really see too much more about that. I'll wrap that conversation up by saying, try and think through all of those forces. Yes, I know Rebellion's expensive. Yes, I know staying in Modern will be pricey, but there's a disproportionate reward that will grow there. And just think that through. Arachne is possibly better than Olivia. Arachne, that's the one we featured a minute ago, right? Is that the one with the heal? It's so good. I only have it at level 7 right now. And yeah, Arachne Weaver. I have it at level 7, or level 5 rather. I think I bought one more unit to bring myself there, because look at this, like 2 extra hit points is huge. Going from 5, which is kind of vulnerable, to 7, which is, not big, but certainly not small, is juicy. This is a great card, man. And the poison just makes it so viable. Like, I mean, this is a great card. 2 damage is not nothing. Sure, silence will bring that down to nothing, or void, will really hurt you. But I'm saying this will make the poison makes the damage output viable, and the heal is so significant. 70% of max health to all units is huge. That can absolutely be a really, really game-changing moment where your opponent gets everybody down, especially if your opponent is trying something where they do a little bit of opportunity, a little bit of sneak, a little bit of snipe, a little bit of frontal assault, and you go ahead and, no, you didn't finish anybody in the first round, I'm just going to go ahead and heal everyone. That is where this card really just breaks. So if your opponent's dropping this, the counter is you got to focus fire. You can't leave someone wounded on the battlefield. You got to make sure you bury them. And so, yeah, it's a great card. You guys are blowing up the chat, so I'm going to try and move quicker. I also estimated the value of legendary reward cards to fill in some gaps. 1 mana, yeah, totally. The 1 mana cards are so crucial. I realize the 1 mana legendaries also, depending on... I expect 1 mana drops. I expect there to be new cheap monsters as well. Conclave Arcana. Some of our questions or expectations or concerns around what we will lose when Chaos moves out you can expect to fill it with some new niche that will be provided by Conclave Arcana. That's why we will want and need Conclave Arcana for high level success. But certain things that you've come to rely upon will not be replaced. And that's that interesting tension where you are going to want some of the existing cards that you currently are overlooking, and yet you are going to need some of the new cards that you haven't yet even heard about. Cryptomancer probably doesn't need that DAO funding. Anyway, he returned 1 month back, payback with, yeah, that's right. But people you're winning against don't have 2K of cards. You do have. Yeah, I definitely, when I win, there are assets I win with that others don't have. You're right. That's part of the Splinterlands mechanic. I said in a recent video, actually, I just released a video. I think it was like explain Splinterlands in 10 minutes or something. And I did this for the team because I know that they're calling for essentially promotional material that will explain what this game is. I think it was well done. It was 10 minutes long, and I tried to really cover everything from like a introduction plus an explanation so that people can get going. And I said in that video that, because I got smoked in one of the two battles, I said in that video that one of the things about Splinterlands is that it's not just the cards you have. They are obviously important, but it's also what you do with them. And so clearly there are times where you're going to be up against it and you're not going to win, for sure. And sometimes assets are the determining factor. But simultaneously, it's possible to defeat very expensive units with less expensive units, knowing something, having some sort of thoughtful plan. I love that about Splinterlands. Yeah, Chaos Legion will definitely enjoy survival mode, and I think people will be surprised by the valuations. Will they ever bring back league caps? I'm not sure that they will. I think we are at least leaning toward not. I do know that there's a large community that say that would be a valuable thing to do. And I think that the team is open to it. But I think from what I can tell, look from outsider looking in, it seems to me that there's no desire to try it again so soon. Because it's been what, like maybe 4 months or something, 5 months since we did that. It could have been 3, it could have been 6. I don't really know, but it hasn't been 2 years. It hasn't been so long that we've really given this no league cap thing a fair shake, in my opinion. And what's more, there's other fish to fry. And they often say that the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Sometimes we have to recognize that changing things just because we think it'll make things 1% better or 10% better, is it going to cost 20% of our assets? You have to, just like when you're building your Splinterlands deck and you go, well, I could buy this card at level 5 and it's good enough instead of level 6. And that's the same principle at work that Splinterlands is applying to their development practices, right? David, good to see you, buddy. I don't recognize your name, so thank you for the comment. If 500K would play this game, a new set with 50 million packs would be put on the market. Honestly, the truth is, first of all, the 500K reference, I am not saying that there's 450,000 or 490,000 players ready to jump into Splinterlands, but the suggestion or the implication that is not possible is just like factually wrong. It's factually wrong that they couldn't, that like there's no reason to say it can't happen, right? That it is literally possible. In fact, we go back to 2021 and we look at the number of accounts are playing, and there's like, I think it was over 200,000 accounts. Might even have been 500,000 accounts at the peak. And I know that a lot of those were bots. But at the same time, we've already talked about survival mode, or we've referred to it. And survival mode is going to radically change who does play this game. Now, I don't really believe that it's going to drive bot accounts in the same way that we previously would have seen with the old iteration of rank rewards. Because because for instance, soulbound reward cards made your account viable with one copy. And that made bot armies very easy to succeed with in regular rank play. Some people are concerned that's going to happen with survival, but recognize this, that if you've got one soulbound reward card or even 2 on account A, that's not enough to play survival at a high level. You're going to die quickly and you're going to stay out. So it might be okay for those bots to play in wild currently under, the current regime, but it's not logical that those are going to therefore thrive in what will be the new survival mode. And so for all those reasons, survival mode, I'm saying, is going to create a new opportunity and moment that could translate to greater player growth. Plus, I have to keep coming back to bull market. Like, are we expecting there to be a bull market for Splinterlands? David, do you think SPS is going to go up in price? Do you think 2 cents is possible? 4? 8? Where does that number end for you? And then if you really believe that 1 cent is the top, I have to disagree with you. But if you think even 2 cents or 4 cents are possible for SPS then you have to understand what that would do to the reward structure in Splinterlands and what will that do to demand for the game. If we go to 4 cents, which I don't think most people feel, in fact, I've never heard anyone say 4 cents is going to be like it. I think everyone has a more bullish sentiment than that. Like 8 is kind of low end bullishness from what most of the community think. The community can be wrong, but if you want to make an argument that it's going to go up to say 4 cents, then you have to also understand that you're talking about, for top tier performance in this game, even Diamond 1 in Modern, you're talking something like 60 cents per win. And if you can get 10 wins a day, you're talking $6 a day from playing this game. You have to admit that's going to drive new player growth, period. There's not an argument there. There's no argument there. Unless you want to go back to the beginning of the conversation and say, no, Dwayne, I disagree. SPS will never go up further than where it is. And then we just have to agree to disagree, because that I'm convinced that bull markets affect the broader economy of Splinterlands, because I think rising waters will raise all boats. If we get close to 500,000 players, not bots, Splinterlands will have a lot of new problems. That will be a good thing. New sets with 100 plus packs. Yeah, you're probably right. It would be a whole new problem. And I'm not saying that would be ideal. I'm saying radical player growth is possible, and I expect it. And one day, I think we will look back and be astonished that 5,000 people was thought of as like a big account, a big number of players. And we can say that it is a big number of players because it's currently driving this economy, man. SPS is growing. That says something about this ecosystem of players being sufficient to grow valuation. I know it fell previously, but we've made a floor and we've grown. That says something about the strength of this small ecosystem. And I'm saying that we could add a 0 or 2 zeros to the player base, and that would radically impact the economy as well. Bronze Dragon, good to see you, buddy. Great success with Bronze Dragon of the channel recently, BD. I'd love to have you come chat with me about I forget the game you're playing, but I do watch sometimes. I haven't made time to learn about it, but I keep thinking to myself, I want to learn more about this, because lately I've been playing more blockchain games. I'm playing every day. I'm logging in Golem Overlord. Every day I'm logging into Splinter Forge, and every day I'm logging into Immortal Creed, and I'm just trying to contribute, and Splinterlands. So that's 4 now. I don't know if that's fully sustainable for me, but it looks like you're doing great things over there, and I'd love to know more. So, if you ever have time to come hang out and just tell me what you know about blockchain space, I'd love to hear it. And so good for you, bud. He says, happy Thanksgiving. I've always said that Chaos Legion has a great play value. I think of all the great cards in the set and the great play we've gotten from that set. Totally. And Gathering says that Chaos Legion reminds him of the revised in Magic the Gathering, super overprinted at the time and extremely valuable now. William, has the average number of views across your videos been trending up, down, staying about the same over the last few months? Great question. I can tell you that I've lost some subscribers. So we, in 2021 or the last bull market, subs blew up. From literally 50 to 6,000 plus. And then since 6,500 was the peak, and that was a few months ago. And there was stability and slight growth even to a few months ago. And then there's been a slight decline in subscribers. So now we're down around 6,200 and change. And so that tells me something. The bear market has worn away at some people. I would argue jealousy capitulation, which is this principle that if Bitcoin is thriving, everything should thrive. And if SPS hasn't gone up yet, it's never going to go up, because look where Bitcoin is, look where ETH is, and so some people are jealous of success elsewhere, and they let that inform their confidence for tomorrow within this space. And so whatever the considerations, subs have fallen a little, and views have dropped off, from the apex. we would have been like closer to 1,000 views per video, and now it's like 300 is quite typical. 700 will be like a banger video, and 150 to 200 is like a bit of like often more like a ranked play video where some of the diehards who love Splinterlands will hang out and watch those ones. But the speculator is not interested in the rank grind. The speculator is more interested in, tell me about the tokenization, or tell me the latest gossip within the ecosystem. And so, that's a bit of, the behind the scenes that I can tell you. I have seen a lot of stability, even over as the subs have declined from 65 to 62. Still, those numbers, like I said, viewership has stayed relatively in the order that I just described. And I am confident that if there is an SPS, if crypto affects SPS, that player base will grow and views will grow. And that's the exciting thing that I'm looking forward to, because I love this and I'm excited to share it with you guys and with a new team that want to come in. Because for 3 years or however long, we've talked about this stuff, and it's like, you guys are my community who want to talk about this. If I, and I see it every day after Sounds Live, or, someone else is talking about this and you guys just go hang out. And I've said this before, but it's still true. I don't have this in my real life. Like, it's not like I have 50 friends who want to come hang out and talk about Splinterlands. My best friends have heard it and they're a little interested, but not like this, where every day we could just come hang out for 2 hours and talk shop. So this is the community, and I'm excited to welcome new people into it. And I'm sure that's going to happen, presuming SPS does benefit from the bull market, which in my mind is a given. He literally says, just call me 12. And then that's part of it. It's all good, brother. It's all good. Gathering Magic. That's interesting about the Revised. Didn't think about that. Revised was everywhere. Barnes & Noble, Radio Shack, other retail shops, hobby shops. They were $100 a box. Wow. I spent $500 on SPL last week. I had to spend about half on SPS, no matter how much I want more cards. I know that's the thing, Ivan. I want more SPS like ASAP. And I'm quietly hoping and praying that SPS, I want SPS to boom. If it goes ahead and just leave, like Moon Mission, like happens sooner than later, and if I don't get to load my bags even more, I will be okay with that, of course. Like, you got to be happy when those happen. But I do want significantly more. Like, I want another $20,000 worth. Like, I want some crazy investment in SPS. But that would require my crypto bags elsewhere to just go for a ride. And they already have started, but I'm not ready to get off that one and move into this one. But there actually may come a moment where I do that. But that would be more of a speculation bag. I do eventually want 1 million SPS, and I've been quietly growing that. Like, I've been saying that since 100,000 SPS, and I'm now over 350. And so, yeah, but SPS, man, I could see if Chaos Legion, talking to Jacob, Williams says, I could see it after Chaos Legion rotates out of the liquidity of modern cards, drastically changes which was the motivation for dropping league caps. Maybe. Everything's factored in. That's the interesting thing. Are you going to be in Diamond in Modern, Dwayne? You have half a Rebellion value. How much Arcana are you going to have? Actually, great question, Ivan. I actually want to go hard on Arcana. I actually might, like, I need my other crypto to work out. But if my other crypto goes where I hope it will go, I actually plan to try and make an Infidel legendary summoner. Meaning I want to do a bulk buy with, interested parties when our Conclave Arcana comes out, and I will want to try and, like, I can't put targets on it yet, and I can't confirm this is what I'm going to do, because I need my crypto to do what I'm hoping it's going to do. But if that happens, and I think in the next, my expectation is not, crypto isn't going to be bullish all 2025. Some people are saying that. I don't buy that. I think the bull market is wrapping up. I actually think we have 90 to 120 days before this ride is done. I bet some of you think, no way, Dwayne, it's going to go all 2025 and things are just getting started. And okay, I hope I'm wrong, but I'm saying my bet is that in the next 90 or 120, that's when we got the window of excitement. That's what I'm expecting. Again, maybe I'm wrong, but that's my that's the bet I'm lying in. And so if that's how I'm operating. And so if in the next 90 days or 80 days or 70 days or whatever, I see significant gains in my other bags, I will liquidate, and I plan to realize substantial gains, and I'll pay all my taxes and all that jazz. But I also want to go hard on Conclave Arcana. And assuming this becomes a reality for me, I will do a video where I'm talking about, I'm going to do a bulk buy. At this moment, I'm actually planning that, but I can't commit to it. Do you know what I mean? So that would mean, 10,000 Conclave Arcana packs or something crazy. Because that will mean a max Conclave set, and that'll mean, so yeah, I don't know. And there's also interesting thing with Conclave is that there's the starter packs, and that's a question mark, because I don't know how to engage with that, because that's not part of the legendary equation. And so I also need to know what cards are common, what cards are rare, what are epic, and what are legendary. If Conclave Arcana is heavy and powerful and overpowered because of its commons, those beginner packs or starter packs or whatever they're being referred to as will be so important. I hope you follow me there. And so that also impacts the conversation. So too many variables to answer your question more accurate than that. Gathering says they just need to make it where you can pick the league you want to play, but then you need the minimum level cards. Then the max decks get out of bronze, silver. That would be, I think that makes sense. I think that makes a lot of sense. And Jacob just saying like, yeah, I hope we see some lower league caps, or essentially appealing to new players, creating like a place, like we want a bully free zone, right? Where like a bronze deck doesn't get smacked around by a diamond. I get it. Okay. If you were in bronze, the cards you can play there should be max bronze. Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense. I think that makes sense. Everything has two sides. There's two sides to every coin, because I can see why. I remember when I had a better deck than gold, and yet it was hard to get out of gold because I was forced to play these elite capital cards. And that's annoying. Maybe that's my own fault. And so I can see both sides of it. The Weaver is the best reward card, hands down. Is that what you think? Really? The Mass Heal is so overpowered. I definitely agree. It's very powerful. And when you picture that in, I think it's called Equalizer. I always get these two confused because there's Equal Opportunity and there's Equalizer or something rule sets. The one where everyone has the same number of hit points. That Weaver is crazy, right? Because you put a Bakjira in there and everyone's got 16 hit points. Good luck pulling us down. The only way you're going to pull us down is by round 10 or whatever, when I have crippled my own units by 10 hit points. I don't think it can be dispelled because it's not a... So the dispel you're talking about, like dispel is a buff. You see my point, Gathering? Like dispel takes away buffs. If I give you strengthen, you get one more hit point, and that can be dispelled. That's like a ward or like a spell that I place on you, and it can be dispelled. But when I heal your hit points, that's not like an aura that I place on you. It's just like it's like a restoration I give you, and so I don't think the heal can be dispelled. There are a lot of mechanics like that I don't actually know how they work yet, though. And there are some others that I've been trying to figure out, like recharge. Recharge is like not very. A lot of people don't love recharge, and I don't find a lot of success with it. But if you put recharge with execute, and if that comes close, and there's blast by chance, because this can happen with the summoner or with. Think of this, recharge with execute and blast. And you go, well, I actually don't know if execute, I guess it would. The other day I was playing a match with the archer that's recharge. I forget its name, neutral card. And I did 15 damage and I absolutely nuked the main tank, like just deleted. And I go, if there was like a blast associated with it and the neighboring monster procced that execute, it just would get crazy. Like you're doing 30 damage in one turn. That would be one of the ways that it could conceivably counter the limitation around recharge. And I guess that you'd have to, you can't control it so much, but I'm trying to understand these interactions. There's new interactions, and it's fun to think through. I don't know, the one manic epic is so crazy good. I agree. The 5 damage output. This thing is nuts. Halfling refugee at the max level, 5 melee damage, 3 speed, 8 hit points, and a heal. The weary is the one limitation, and this debilitation is actually one of the best ones, because this fire incendiary burns 2 damage per round on the Kazi Conjurer, and that has a risk of spreading to the neighboring monster, which spreads to the neighboring monster, which spreads to the neighboring monster. That's the crazy thing. So this can kill you faster than the enemy will, and yeah, the corrupted healing will cripple you, essentially taking away 1 hit point, but the counter play is so worth it. And so I feel like weary, I feel like the best debilitation is corrupted healing. The second best debilitation is weary. The third is the electricity, because it does 1 damage per monster, and the 2 can kill you really just so fast. And so in that order, that's how I look at the debilitations. So Halfling Refugee is in the conversation for best epic or best Soulbound reward card. And then pretty sure it can't be dispelled, says Jacob. I agree. Bronze Dragon says, once we have the mobile app, the amount of possible new players multiplies by an exponential amount. Atlas Earth, that's right. Yeah. Dude, that's exciting to watch, because it's exciting to see the excitement around your views, because it implies exuberance towards Atlas Earth. But that's exciting because why? Because it says something about interest in blockchain-based gaming. So I do think it can be broadly applicable, even though it's currently specifically applicable to that one title. Jacob says, oh, Mila. Sorry, guys. Dog's trying to protect me. Okay. Jacob says, I just want to get to 100K sis. I don't know what sis is. Oh, SPS. Gotcha. 100,000 SPS is a great goal. I actually was, I'm trying, there's this video idea kicking around in my head, and I'll maybe just share the core of it with you guys here today, because I think this is worth thinking about. Jacob says he wants 100,000 SPS. And I would argue that there's a logical, you can think through what you need. I think 50,000 SPS is that's going to be high level whale stuff at some point in the future. Like, many people will have that kind of bag. Okay, so picture your SPS at 1 penny and you go 50,000 SPS is worth $500. Yeah, that's a pretty big investment by most people's standards. But if you imagine at some point in the future, SPS being $1, and you also understand that on the pathway to price appreciation for SPS, we are going to see exponential player growth. That's part of why the token will rise. Then you have to understand that most people won't arrive while it's 1 penny. Most players will not buy SPS while it is 1 penny, or while it was half a penny, a few months ago. Most players will buy it when it's higher, 5 cents, 10 cents, whatever, wherever it's going to get. Most people will buy it at those higher levels. And so they're not going to attain, most of them are not going to attain what we have. Plus they're not here yet, and so they're not earning the stake opportunity. 10.25% APR on staked SPS. They're not earning SPS from their rank battles because they're not here playing. And so the bags of SPS that are coming in the future will be far smaller. And in my mind, if you start thinking through what would make me like a Splinterlands whale in 5 years, I actually think something like 50,000 SPS is a really admirable goal. And I think you can kind of, you can bring some data point into that conversation by looking at how do I increase, how would it move the needle for my reward multiplier if I staked 50,000 SPS? If I go in here and I imagine, like, I'm already at 330,000 and my multiplier is already at 11, but if I go here and I go 50,000 more, it's barely moving the needle. Look at that. That's 50. Like, if I was to stake 50,000 more SPS today, it's barely moving the needle. And so that tells you that while 300,000 would be cool, 400,000 would be better, it's not so crazy. So where are those breakpoints that really matter as we're looking at SPS, and you can think through how this looks in cards, right? Like I said earlier, some cards you need it at level 1 and that's all you need it. Others you need at max level, level 5, level 6, whatever. And those breakpoints can be thought through with respect to your investment bag within SPS. If I log out of here and I go to my other account where I don't have, actually, hang on. Boom. I log into my other account where I don't have an SPS bag, and then let's go in here and we go stake. Let's stake 50,000 SPS here. I go from this is the wild bonus, by the way. I go from a 0 multiplier to a 4.5 multiplier. And we know that you're going to earn glint by playing the game regardless of whether you have the SPS bag. We know that. That's part of the new free-to-play model. But we also know that people are going to want those other rewards. And here we go and say 50,000, which is currently $500, is a pretty significant multiplier. I already showed you that 350,000 is an 11 multiplier. Well, 4.5 multiplier is almost half of that. So do you see my point? Like for $500, you get 45% of my return. $500, or do you want to spend 7 times that to get what I get? See that calculation? And you can think that through at lower levels too. You go, well, what would I get for 10,000? 10,000 SPS is actually a meaningful multiplier. From 0 to 1 is huge. And so this is a start. I think this tells a tale about what sort of SPS bag is necessary. It can maybe help you set stretch goals for where you're going to go with the bag. And you need to understand that players who come in later in like 3 months or 6 months or a year or 2, they're not going to ever catch up. We are going to be SPS whales to a great degree because we have this APR opportunity, and we also have the return from the rank rewards that may never exist after the SPS is fully printed. In fact, I hope never exists. You see my point? So I actually think there's a strong argument for saying that 50,000 SPS is going to be the future whale. Maybe 100,000 SPS is going to be this gigantic, but look at that differential. 50,000 SPS gives you a 4.5 multiplier. If you double that, you're only getting a little more, from 4.5 to 6.8. It's a 50% return, or it's the increase is it's diminishing, like it's half. If I double my SPS, the doubling of the SPS, the return on that is half as important from 50,000 to 100 as the first 50,000. That we should think that stuff through. And this is how many people will look at SPS bags in the future. I don't think anyone is going to be coming in and saying, well, actually, caveat, almost no one will come through and say, I'm going to buy 1 million SPS once this game has gotten to 10 cent SPS. It'll only be the crypto whales who are then discovering and being like, yeah, I can catch up. I can throw money at this thing. But that'll be a handful of people, not the standard. The standard will be, oh, wow, this game's cool. I wish I knew about it sooner. 10,000 SPS would be a cool stretch goal for them. 50,000 maybe if they're like a bit of a crypto head. I think that's worth recognizing, because we right now are the future whales and we don't even know it. That's what I'm trying to say. Alex, you ain't an issue if you don't have 1 million SPS. 225,000 SPS, hoping to grind to 250 for Discord room entrance L. Yeah, I haven't even joined the Discord, and of course I have enough SPS to do so. It's worth doing it. You know, it's worth making those goals. I was at 200 very recently, but I bought some, and then I bought a little more, and I've been earning more, and I've been playing really intentionally and all that stuff. The new starter packs are a key sign that the team listened to the target multiple demographics instead of just whales. You design an economy around whales. You design it around consumer class. I think, yeah, you want both, right? You definitely want both. And the interesting question, Aaron, is going to be how powerful are commons and rares? Because those cards are the cards available in those starter packs. If commons are the OP necessary card, wow. You know, the money would be wise to spend on the starter packs because you get the 5x multiplier on the number of BCX per pack. It's $5 for a pack, and you're getting 25 cards, as opposed to I think $5 for a conclave pack, and you're getting 5 cards. But I don't expect that. I expect summoners to begin at rare, which means starter packs could give you a summoner, but probably most of the time won't. And I do think epics and legendaries are going to be what we expect them to be, right? Ivan feels bad in gold running into Clove account with Max Rebellion, Tofu, Mantaroth. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I've been there. Aaron B, you don't design an economy around whales. I meant to say, yeah, I do think you need to play to both. If we aren't catering in some ways to whales, here's a principle I heard somebody say with respect to marketing yourself, and it's something I had to think about with respect to this channel, because I have membership passes that you guys can sign up for, and if you want to sign up and support the channel and with the content I create, you can do that at like $3, I think is the lower level, and you're going to be able to watch my members only content with that, and you're going to get things like membership badges, etc. But at the higher levels, there's high prices in there, and because the truth is, like, at one point in the past, I said like the highest level was $30, and like lots of people joined it, and the expectation, the opportunity for me to satisfy that community was just not possible. Like, so my point is, you have to set these. You have to offer services that are probably too expensive for most people to pay. Splinterlands is the same. Your financial business opportunities are the same. If you set your prices too low, you'll be too busy, and you need to set your prices at a place where most aren't going to buy it. And that's what Splinterlands needs to get right. Like, this balance between they're absolutely offering services and experiences to let's say the 99%, but then they also need those, let's say those, I think hello is the hollows that come along and be like, okay, look, 100 people are going to get this thing. It's not for you. It's not for me. 100 people are going to get this thing. And by the way, probably 50 people are going to get this thing, because most of them are going to buy 2. So that is just like, that's catering to the whale, but it's also, look, we got these legends. You want cards that are cool. You can buy 1 or 2 or 10 or 100 copies of these legends, or hey, starter packs, and you can get 5 times the BCX. So it feels like there's a nice balance there, and that's something they have to strive toward all the time. It's not going to be something they get right once. It's got to be this continuing wrestle. Alex says, actually, in the gaming business, you want to focus on small groups that have heavy pockets. See, they're they got to both be there. Like, if we only cater to whales, we're not going to grow player base. The beautiful middle ground, like the eye of the tornado, the place where like the greatest energy and opportunity are going to exist, or where we attract the masses and also the whales. I can't see it any other way. Dragon says, to be clear, Atlas Earth is not Web3. It's play to earn mobile platform. Okay. I think the outlook pricing value of SPS will completely change when SPS stops being minted. That's what most will agree. And I agree. I don't think that we need to wait that long to see opportunity, because what you're describing, Bronze Dragon, is a fundamental consideration around the price of SPS. You're saying when there is a tightening on supply, because there is lack of creation, there will be an increase in price, because the existing demand will have less access. So either demand stability or demand increase in conjunction with supply decline. Because either, how does price go up? Either demand goes up or supply goes down. So you're saying that's a fundamental consideration and an expected one, something that's going to happen. And we can say at that moment forward, the price should go up. I agree. That is logical. But then if you want to, you have to also understand that price increases are not always and simply logical. The idea that fundamental considerations are the only thought or process or consideration around why a token would go up in value is definitely overlooking just generalized FOMO. And there's, it's not, if you understand how small our market cap is on SPS, like according to this, we got market cap of $1 million. And I think on Splinterlands, it says otherwise. If we go, I think I saw somewhere else it was like 15 million. I don't know. Like, okay, so look at this market cap, SPS 16 million. I don't understand why this is different than that. Maybe Livecoin Watch is only looking at the liquid. Anyways, whether it's 16 million or whether it's 1 million, that's a micro cap coin. Like, I mean, a small coin. It would take so little attention and excitement to drive this to a crazy place. And in the intervening weeks or months, when there is a bull market ongoing, and when tokens are appreciating wildly, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever, and these things are doing well, those investors sorry about that, guys. Those investors typically, and I would expect again in this situation, will move into lower cap coins to explore 10xing their 10x. You want to gain on your gains. So if you've got an ETH bag and it doubled in, you know, if you've got a Tron bag, I mean, not Tron, a Doge bag and it like tripled over the last month, you know, are you taking a little bit of that profit and throwing it into something at a lower cap that hasn't moved yet? Maybe that's part of why Hive is pumped recently from like 15 cents to 30, right? We were just over here. Okay, so 16 cents in September, or 16 cents in November 3rd. November 3rd. So in 25 days, we doubled. And so that stuff happens because gains elsewhere move into lower cap coins. And so my point is, that's not logical. It's not like somebody said, hey, Hive is, you know, poised for, you know, mass adoption. That's not really what's happening. It's just literally speculation. And so my point is, logic is a big piece of why tokens go up, and SPS can count on that future in my mind. But there's also the illogic of FOMO and how that drives price growth. If someone is a fast food worker in Cali and they want to put $20 in a paycheck into this economy and work at it regularly and make gains, there should be a place for him here. Yes, I agree, Aaron. $1 SPS equals $2 billion valuation. Impossible. Yeah, this is what people say. Market, but Toro, I mean, I know you're an investor. I know you're successful, and I believe if we had a thoughtful conversation about market cap, you would admit market cap is like a imperfect way of understanding valuations and the possible valuations that are attainable. It's simple. It's simplistic. It's black and white thinking. It's like, it can't go there because it isn't there. It's also, here's my point. See if I can in 1 minute try to articulate this, because I think you know this, but not everybody knows this. Well, one thing is, market cap is a multiplication of the price that it's selling at across the units that are available. And so, you know, with Bitcoin, we go 95,000 right now is the price, but that creates a 1.8 trillion dollar market cap. And that is based on, you know, I forget how many Bitcoin are liquid. Let's look at this. Circulating supply, 19 million. Okay. So we go 19 million times 95,000 and we get a market cap. But here's the reality. We know that most of them, like many of those Bitcoin, are frozen, never going to be moved again. And that, we don't take that into consideration. So, and then we also say about market cap, it isn't the case that even like 25% of them move today. It's something like 5%. And we can actually, you know, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I could do this in a separate video. I'd have to like think about it and get my numbers correct. But 3% there's 3% of that market cap that's moved today, according to this data. So a small amount of the market moving on any given day affects what the price is. And I'm saying if the fullness of the market, and yet the market cap is based on the full supply. So you have to see the disconnect there. If there were actually 19 million Bitcoin moving around today, the price wouldn't be 95,000. I'm saying that, like, you know, and that's the failure of market cap. And so you have to understand, again, not necessarily talking to Toro, talking to the broader community. When people say things like the market cap means the price can't get there, I don't engage with that logic at all, because market cap itself is flawed in that you never move the full market. You only talk about moving a few units. And so as ridiculous as it sounds to have a $2 billion market cap for SPS, dude, I don't think that's impossible at all, because we'd be talking about moving like a 5%. What we would be looking at in that future would be no new SPS being created. We'd be talking about most of the SPS locked up for the in-game rewards. We'd be talking about an acknowledgement that there's a substantial player base that is far greater than we currently understand, that want to have their bag of SPS and aren't willing to let it go. And so there's a tension on the supply, and there's a small amount of SPS moving around that's being sold for those price points that would reflect that valuation. Again, market cap doesn't mean anything almost. Like it's one factor, one indication, one way of looking at things. But again, it's almost more valuable to look at on any given token, how much of it is actually moving around. That's in currency. That's like the, is it called volatility? There's a economics word that I'm forgetting right now, but it talks about the speed of money, or I think that's what it's called, where we track how often US dollars move from hand to hand or account to account. And that rate of movement says something about the value of the fiat currency. And I'm saying the same is true with crypto. That was way longer than a minute, so I'm going to move on. Jumping back and forth and getting my turkey breast and nice smoke. I love it. Smoked turkey breast is so good. I have a friend who owns a turkey farm, and amazing turkey. He actually hooked me up last year with a smoked turkey, and it was so good. I've never had one like that before. I've had smoked turkey meat from my deli, and I like that. But this was a full turkey, smoked, and it was friggin' delicious. Bronze Dragon Gaming got some. I see. Yeah. If you guys are celebrating, Thanksgiving, I'm assuming there's a few beers going around. Now I don't drink, but I don't think Bronze Dragon. Do you drink? I thought you were super fitness guy, and maybe I don't. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Yeah. Okay, how long have we been live? Hour and a half. Guys, I think we got to the end of the comment section. I also feel like I've said most of everything I wanted to say today, and I just wanted to hop on. I will tell you a couple things before I wrap here. I want you to know, first, that I'm going to do a live on December 4th where there's going to be like some giveaways. So come hang out December 4th, public live. I've got some packs that I'm going to be giving away, got some cards I'm going to be giving away, and I hope you'll come hang out. I got a special guest coming. We're going to be talking all things Splinterlands. I'm celebrating the bull market because I'm convinced it's already coming, because we've seen SPS double in the last 30 or 60 or something like that. And I'm convinced, despite some of maybe the uncertainty that I hear from the community still, that cards are going to better places, tokens are going to better places. There's the transition from, in modern and the evolution of the meta. These are exciting times. And so I want to celebrate. And so I hope you'll come hang out on December 4th. The live is already posted. And also, just before you go, if you enjoy the content, you're still hanging around, drop the like. And lastly, if you do want more of this live content, check out the members, the ranks that you can join. You can join the members and be there for the weekly lives that are just for them. And there's tons of members only content that you guys maybe see a glimpse of it here and there, but definitely not all of it. So check it out.